Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Jackie Broman here. Coming to you Mondays at 10 to give you this short snippet of legal information. So I made a mistake last week. My topic was supposed to be how old should I be to get a will, or what age should I be to get a will. Today's topic is about nominating guardians for your children in your will. So please remember that when you appoint a godparent for your child, if that's something that you've done, it's not a legal appointment whatsoever. So you do actually need to put in your will who is going to have the guardian responsibilities for your children if something happens to you. So a couple of things, I guess, that I constantly tell parents is, firstly, when thinking about who should be nominated as a guardian, don't just restrict yourself to thinking of family. So yes, family is a great option if they are close by or they can take that on. But a lot of us only think about family because we think, well, there's an obligation because we're related. But in fact, if you think deeper about it, well, who's going to bring up your children in the way that you want them to? And if it's family, that's great. But if your siblings have grown apart from you and your values are different, if some of your siblings don't have children, if the way you want your children raised is very different to the way they're raising theirs, then that's something that requires a little bit more thought. And perhaps there's some close friends nearby rather than family, particularly when you think, well, maybe I want my kids to stay in the same community where I'm living, potentially even in the same house, want them to stay at the same school. So those sort of things, it could be a friend rather than a family member. So bearing that in mind, then people often think, well, I should appoint family because they think that it's too difficult to put that financial obligation onto friends, whereas family should be obligated. Well, in fact, again, rethink that, because the inheritance that your children have put away for them is available to be used by the guardians for their upbringing. So school fees, extracurricular fees, the extra uniforms, all those sorts of things can be paid for out of what they've inherited. So having a guardian that's going to work closely with the people who are looking after the money for your children is really important. And I often suggest parents have an overlap between who their guardian is and who their executors are. And the third tip then is, when you're thinking about guardians, also think about if you're going to nominate a couple. I generally recommend not to nominate a couple. I generally recommend to choose one person out of the couple in case something happens to that couple. And then maybe have a backup as well, just in case. So those things were in terms of guardian appointments. Family's not your only option. You can think about friends, think about who has the values that you want to raise your kids. Money shouldn't be a factor that you're thinking about either in terms of who is the guardian. And thirdly, try not to appoint a couple as guardians. Appoint the one person in the couple that you want, and then also have a backup there just in case that person's not available. So those are my three main tips for appointing guardians for minors in wills. So parents should at least have a will for that reason if they have young children. So coming back to what age you should be to make a will. Don't wait until you have young kids to make a will either. For those in their late teens and 20s, your superannuation at that point is probably your biggest asset, particularly if you've got an industry fund. You'll have $200,000 or $300,000 as a death benefit on your super, which needs to be considered. If you don't have a spouse or children as a late teen and in your 20s, which most people don't, you cannot nominate your parents on your super. You cannot nominate your siblings on your super. So it's worthwhile thinking these things through, because again, a couple of $100,000, you want it to go where you want it to go. So that is why it's important to do a will for younger people. to make sure the super's handled. Then once you get into a relationship and you have young children, it's really important to make sure that guardians are appointed and we've got the proper trust set up for kids. And then obviously the older you get, the different lifestyle things change and kids grow up and they can take roles and so on and so forth. So really important to think about. I am obviously trying to do this every Monday morning at 10 consistently as I've done for the last couple of years. If there are any questions that you want to ask, you're quite welcome to direct message TBA Law through this Facebook page. All these live videos get posted onto the page, so there's hundreds there. You can go back and have a look at videos that might be relevant for you. You can use the search function. If there's something that's relevant for a friend or family member, please either tag their name in the comments or you can send it privately to them in a message. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week. Like I was just saying with the consistency, unfortunately, I'm not available next Monday, but the Monday after, back into it. So the 22nd, I will see you again. Take care.